Last year, Valve decided to take an even more hands-off approach to curation on the Steam marketplace, which now means that all developers have to do is pay $100 and they can list any old shite on the Steam marketplace, even if that shite is a carbon copy of an EA Battlefield game. Tanks Battleground is a game which was listed on Steam last week, and as you can see, it's a complete rip-off of Battlefield 1942. The listing uses the official trailer and screenshots from EA's 2002 game, although they were clever enough to cover their tracks by editing the Battlefield logo out of the ending of the original trailer. Their intelligence ends there, however. If attempting to infringe the copyright of one of the biggest corporations in gaming wasn't stupid enough, they also forgot to check the description of their game, which mistakenly refers to itself as Battlefield 1942. The game is listed as being developed and published by a Chinese named company, which translates as free partner, and the profile of one of the developers is listed as living in Shenzhen, China. The ripped off Tanks Battleground trailer was also uploaded on YouTube almost a week ago to a Chinese account which translates as Yan Zemming. The Steam store listing has been up a few days now and has already caught the eye of the media. It was first spotted by an eagle-eye Redditor who posted those findings on the Steam subreddit. The Reddit post has subsequently been seen by at least a couple of EA employees who have acknowledged the copyright infringement and will be flagging it with the company. Gaming news outlet PC Gamer have published an article about the story, and no doubt many other outlets will do the same once they pick up on it. Tanks Battlefield is due for release in a few days' time on May the 30th, but is not currently open for pre-orders, and therefore no money has been taken for the fraudulent game, whatever that game actually is. With all this exposure, it's extremely unlikely that the game will ever see the light of day. My money's on Valve to remove the listing the millisecond that EA get in touch with them, and if that happens, you could be forgiven for thinking that there's no harm done. But what if this listing wasn't actually spotted? The game was actually published and free partners started taking money off Steam customers. This raises the question of how many other shameless brazen rip-offs are out there currently on Steam, ones that haven't been spotted or gotten the same levels of exposure and are currently taking money off people. The question also remains, how was this blatant rip-off even able to reach the store in the first place? Steam Direct's policy dictates that a store page must be reviewed before it goes live. Therefore, we know that the listing for Tanks Battleground was almost certainly reviewed and approved by an employee before it was listed. We can probably forgive the Valve employee who approved it for not recognizing it was a rip-off of Battlefield 1942, because people just can't know all the games. But this whole episode does illustrate perfectly the problem with the Steam store right now. The only thing preventing shitty rip-offs, dodgy asset flips, and outright scams making it to the store is a $100 fee. But I guess so long as Valve are making $100 for every single one, they don't care how much shit's on the store, right? Plus, if you add that to the 30% revenue cut they get from all sales on the store, it makes perfect sense why they continue to do nothing to protect their customers, even if we're highly likely to get ripped off or scammed. Shame on you, Steam. Ding ding, shame.
I don't really want to see old Gabe doing the walk, though. I don't want to see him strip naked.
If that's what it takes, if that's what it takes, throwing poo at Gabe. I mean, if it cleans up the store, then I'm all for it. I do feel like this is the type of shady business practice that gets ignored too often, and it needs to be highlighted, right? Because Steam get away with this, and I know you say that. You could easily say that, oh, Steam got this refund policy, so if it is a shady asset flip or if it's a shitty game, you can refund it straight away. But how many people are naive to that? How many people just don't bother with that? How many companies are out there getting away with taking money off people who don't end up refunding? If it's just a $2 game, it's like, what's the point in it? Don't want to refund too often in case they don't approve the refund for the big game that you buy. So the $2 game isn't worth that much. Like, people are getting away with scams on Steam, and Valve are doing absolutely nothing about it. That is a fact. And the fact that this got so far, and it's due for release in a couple of days now, it'll never get there. You mark my words, it will never release, because EA are aware of it, Steam will get aware of it, and they'll pull it down. But this does go to show that it's just a matter of time before something else comes along the lines and it does go out on sale, and then it will only after the fact, after the time it starts taking money off people, someone will notice it, and then there'll be a huge kickoff. If it is an EA game, or if it's another huge company's game or copyright that's been infringed, Steam will have some, or Valve will have some answering to do. I can guarantee it.
When we started reading this story, I just wasn't surprised at all. It was my first thought. I was like, Well, of course. Of course.
That's what they do, isn't it?
It's just there's so much stuff on their store. They have no idea what's there. They've just accumulated so much stuff that to be honest, they can't possibly know everything, but it's their job to. They should make sure that this stuff's not just getting ripped off. Put in the words, was it Battlefield 1942 in your own description, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's important to note that this isn't the same issue as the censorship problem that Steam had last year. It's not the same thing about that, because Steam, they've relaxed their policy last year, saying, no, we'll allow anything on. Okay, we've been censoring these games in the past. We'll allow everything on now. That isn't the same thing, right? This is about protecting your consumers from being ripped off with shady asset flips and shady rip-offs like this. This isn't the same thing as censorship. I'm all for people putting whatever game they want on Steam, so long as it's not done just to try and make money off you, just with a shady blatant rip-off game or asset flip or some other sort of scam that people used to take money off you. Steam needs to do more about this, and it's not censorship. This is just protection for the customers.
And it's also about protecting the creators as well. And because this is an EA game, it's hard to feel sympathetic for them because everyone knows they're terrible. But if it's happened here, it's not unlikely that it's happened to a smaller studio who don't have the resources to make themselves known and do something about it.
Yeah.
And they're just regular people, like an indie team whose game's just completely been stolen.
That's it. Which is why it's important for people like us to highlight this problem and make people aware of it. And good on PC Gamer for running the story, and anyone else who does run the story, thumbs up to them people, because this is what needs to happen. And without social get together like we're doing here, that people becoming aware of this and rallying against it, nothing will ever change. And hopefully Steam not just this video, but see PC Gamer and hear about some of the outrage that this is causing and buck their ideas up. But we'll see. Steam or Valve aren't really known for doing anything quickly, like a snail, aren't they?
At all, really.
Like a snail. Not even responded to the Epic Store threat, have they? Yeah.
But enough about Valve doing absolutely nothing as usual. It's time for your Tuesday news nuggets. First up, according to Kojima Productions Twitter, the countdown to Death Stranding has started. That means we may finally be getting something Death Stranding related this week on May the 29th. But we're not entirely sure what that something is, but in all likelihood, it will be a new trailer with more obscure imagery and very little concrete information. And I, for one, cannot wait.
In other vague PlayStation exclusive news, we have another potential leak regarding The Last of Us Part 2's release date. The leak from Spanish website Game Reactor, which was backed up by a different Spanish site, Legion de Jugadores, doesn't specifically mention a release date, but claims there will be a new trailer this week which will unveil when the game will finally launch. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition, but maybe we can expect something from The Last of Us. I didn't write that. That was him.
Well, I'm going to
take credit for that one.
I'm going to try and put the clip in, but if it's not there, it's because they flagged us, because last time I used the Monty Python clip, they flagged us.
Yeah.
So, ray tracing is the current buzzword in gaming technology that will really get you techies hard. Well, now the tech is making its way into two of the most popular open world games around, The Witcher 3 and GTA 5. Both games are running a new extension for the post-process injection tool Reshade, which is currently in development.
After a visual step up for The Witcher 3, we can also expect to see a visual downgrade for the CDPR title. This is because the game is rumoured to be making its way to the Nintendo Switch. And if the rumour is true, which is doubtful considering how demanding The Witcher 3 is, the game would likely need to be seriously downgraded to run on the platform. But playing The Witcher 3 on the go would be pretty awesome.
In yet another leak in today's news nuggets, we have word that Ubisoft are planning to launch an EA Origins style subscription service. Users of Reset Era noticed something on the Ubisoft store called Ubisoft Pass Premium, as well as a category called Ubisoft Subscription. If this is true, you should probably expect to see something about it at E3, which starts in just 2 weeks.
Elder Scrolls fan favourite, The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, is being overhauled with mods. One specific mod has been ongoing for quite a while, since 2011, but has now reached version 5.0, which fixes bugs, adds new creatures, weapons and armour, and improves models, among many other changes. The mod is known as Rebirth, and version 5.0 is described as one part of two by creator Transmaster_1988.
The World Health Organization organization has finally added gaming disorder to the list of officially recognized diseases. The disease is described as a pattern of gaming behavior, digital gaming or video gaming, characterized by impaired control over gaming, increasing priority given to gaming over other activities to the extent that gaming takes precedence over other interests and daily activities, and continuation or escalation of gaming despite the occurrence of negative consequences. The World Health Organization indicated that this would happen back in January last year, but has only just made it official.
How many sick days are going to be called in because people have had the disease? Like I'm addicted to gaming. I've got this gaming disease, guys, and this new game's coming out tomorrow, so I'm just not going to be able to come in tomorrow.
I do remember swindling my mum into thinking I was sick, so I got a day off school so I could play Metal Gear Solid 1 on the PS1.
Oh, we've all done that.
Yeah,
we've all pulled sickies for games.
So now it's going to legitimize teenage boys everywhere.
It's a disease. The World Health Organization. Fucking hell. That's bollocks, isn't it?
I hope she speaks to me about that now. I'll call her later.
She watches this. Have you ever wondered what the Sand Kingdom level from Super Mario Odyssey would look like recreated in Mario 64? Well, you're in luck. Modder Kays Emanuar, who does plan on recreating the whole game in Mario 64, has shared a video of his progress online. Despite the clunky graphics, Mario Odyssey 64, as the mod is known, features a faithful recreation of the Sand Kingdom level, Mario's new hat moves, and the ability to possess enemies.
Joining the list of cool creations in Media Molecule's Dreams is a level based on Star Wars. The level looks very reminiscent of the Star Wars Rogue Squadron series, where players take control of an X-Wing and engage in a space battle against TIE fighters and a Star Destroyer. The game was created by user Galferman and is called Space Wars Force Fighter to tentatively avoid copyright infringement.
And according to Eurogamer, Call of Duty Modern Warfare is about to be announced on May the 30th. And no, we're not talking about Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare from back in 2007. And we're not talking about Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered from 2016. Yeah, this year's brand new Call of Duty game will be called Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Figure that one out. There's been Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, there's been Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. They're not going to call it Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 because Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, which is the original, already exists. So they're going back and using no numbers at all. Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
I still think Call of Duty Modern Warfare, or replace the A's in Warfare with 4s. Like
that would be better than this trash.
People don't know how to name games anymore. Doom 4 is Doom. God of War 4 is God of War.
It makes sense.
What are you doing?
It makes sense to them. They'll probably sell more for it.
For fans of the Souls-like action-adventure RPG Nioh, there is new gameplay footage of the sequel, Nioh 2, from the alpha build of the game. There is nearly 4 hours of gameplay out there to watch, which shows off some familiar gameplay as well as some new enemies and the character creator. The first game came out in 2017, and there is no release date yet for the sequel, but we may learn some more at E3.
So this concludes our gaming news nuggets for today. If you want to go and check out anything that we've mentioned in this segment, head down to the description of this video and you find links to everything. You're welcome.
Shall we have a little joke?
Yeah.
Excellent. So these jokes come in from our Discord channel, which you get access to if you become a patron over at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. You'll also get early access to the podcast, and it really, really helps us out. So yeah, go and do that. That'd be fabulous. This one comes from Jason Jackson, and I audibly laughed out loud when I read it. So I'm quite happy with this one. Why shouldn't you buy Ukrainian Y-fronts? Because Chernobyl fallout.
Brilliant. That is good. Well done.
That took me a while because there's different ways to pronounce Chernobyl. Chernobyl. So, yeah, I like that one. Well done, Jason.
Thanks very much, sir.
Despite launching to almost universal acclaim, Respawn Entertainment's Apex Legends has been drudging on with a dwindling player base and limited content. After launching back in February, the game quickly amassed a huge success and reached 25 million players and 2 million concurrent players in less than 2 weeks, and hit 50 million in a month. According to market research firm Superdata, the game generated $24 million in revenue in April, which is down for the second month in a row, leaving monthly revenue at a quarter of what it was back at launch. The game's launch revenue was huge in the beginning, at $92 million, meaning the game's revenue is down 74% in just 2 months. We've already made a video about how the player base of Anthem. Fucking hell, look at that. Jesus Christ.
It's true, we've done that video as well.
Yeah, we've already made a video about how the player base of Apex was leaving, but this is one hell of a revenue fall off, especially from one of the most successful game launches ever. Fewer and fewer people are playing the game, and while it's still making great money, it's a significant drop all the same. Similar games like Fortnite have maintained their popularity through frequent frequent game-changing content updates, and this is where Apex has really dropped the ball. There have been no significant additions or changes to the game since launch aside from new guns and one new character. The upcoming move to mobile should rebalance the books a great deal, but without new content for players to sink their teeth into, the game may be in the same position once again in a few months. When fellow Battle Royale title PUBG hit mobile, it generated an estimated $65 million in March alone after its February launch. This means that the mobile market is still a massively viable option for the game, but without substantial new content, it's unclear if the game can really last. However, it's unlikely that the game's publisher EA will give up on Apex, since 30% of new players introduced to the company came from Apex. As well as coming to mobile, Apex is heading to players in China, which in Andrew Wilson's mind will look like an extra 1 billion potential wallets to empty, or a bunch of new gold-plated yachts, diamond shoes, and Robbie Rotten facial reconstructive surgery.
Does look like Robbie Rotten though, doesn't he?
Robbie Rotten as a Bond villain.
So why is Apex losing players, losing revenue? It's pretty obvious, isn't it? They're not supporting it as well as they should do with a service-based game. They still only play in teams of 3. You can't play solo. Like, people are still waiting for that solo mode or duos or whatever. It's quite limited in terms of that game type, and I think that, it's always cited as one of the main reasons why people are losing interest, because there's just not enough to do and you're stuck to this team of 3.
Fortnite has done so well, and they're constantly bringing out new stuff. They had the Avengers stuff just a few months ago, and then like last week or something they had the John Wick stuff, so they're constantly adding new things very, very regularly, and Apex need to figure out a way to do the same, and if they can get the licensing deals like Fortnite has, they'll make even more money.
I don't think they'll be sweating it too much just yet, because all they need to do is launch a huge content update with a new map or 2 maybe even, and new game modes or whatever, and then people will come back to try it out, and then they'll stick around if they like it or if not. And it kind of has parallels with PUBG, because PUBG was so long taking to bring out the second map and to change things. It's just that its development was just so slow compared with the likes of Fortnite, that you hope that Apex can generate the content a little bit faster than it's currently doing in order to stay up there with Fortnite. But lo and behold, we'll have to wait and see.
It's definitely not a lost cause, but if they don't change what they're doing soon, it will be.
It's only a matter of time before the next Battle Royale phase fad game comes along and steals a lot of Apex's already installed player base. So, the
bubble will burst altogether, and the next thing will come along that isn't Battle Royale. So that's it from us for your Tuesday news roundup. We'll be back again tomorrow with something. Still haven't decided what it is yet. Who really knows? But if you want to help us create the content we've been creating, go on over to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming and get access to the Discord with the Dad Jokes channel, as we just mentioned, as well as the podcast, which is all great. If you like what you see here, maybe you want to see a bit more, hit the subscribe button. It's really helpful. Maybe like. So I've been Henry. He's been Gaz. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Smacking booties like there's no tomorrow, eh?
I mean, what are you going to do? I could die, right now. I haven't hit a bum today. So don't go getting yours out. It's not for me.
My bum doesn't take your fancy?
No, mainly because it's attached to a bloke.
I don't know whether to feel happy or sad about that.